It is Friday, January 5th. Let's talk PlayStation. It's one of my favorite videos to do for the brand new year. It's the predictions video for PlayStation. So, as always, every single year, we will go over my previous year's predictions video for 2017. We will grade myself, see how well I did, see how accurate I was, or how entirely wrong I was, and then I will offer some brand new 2018 predictions for what I think Sony will do as a company for PlayStation and games and services throughout all the year of 2018. Beautiful stuff. And like I mentioned last week, not really a whole lot going on in the games industry. I'm sure most developers, publishers, industry figures will get to work relatively soon, so hopefully next week we will have some actual news stories to discuss. But in the time being, for the first LTPS of this year, we'll do some 2018 predictions. So anyway, here's a timestamp because I'm going to grade myself first from last year. If you want to go right into the new stuff, then jump right to that time. But anyway, the first one that we always do, of course, is sales predictions. So at the start of 2017, I predicted that by the end of 2017, PS4 would be at 70 million systems, PS3 would be at 87 million systems, Vita would be at 16.6 million, and a very bold prediction of PlayStation VR being at 6 million. And I remember at the time of filming that video, and I even know this because I just watched it again to be sure, that was pretty much a total shot in the dark because it's really kind of hard to grade VR. A lot of analysts at the time were saying that the PlayStation VR was expected to sell around 2 million after the holiday season of 2017, which of course is nowhere even close to being remotely true. So anyway, here's the results. PS4 currently sits at a little over 70 million. I believe the updated figure is like 70.6 million, something like that. I would have to figure that it's actually a little bit bigger than that, but I'm guessing so around 71, 72 million or whatever. I'm sure we'll get an updated figure soon, but the official number from Sony recently was actually 70 million, so I'm pretty much right on the money there. That's pretty good. PS3, this is direct from VG charts, so they can always be give or take a few 100,000 systems, but granted PS3 sells in such low volume at this point that they can't be too far off. But anyway, PS3 is at 86.9 million. So, pretty close there, but like it's already that close anyway. It's pretty negligible. Vita's at 15.8 million systems, so I was a little overly optimistic with Vita, which sucks. I would hope that Vita shatters my predictions, but of course that doesn't happen. PSVR sitting at around, well, the updated figure from Sony officially is 2 million units, and that was in early December. I'm going to assume that a few, 100,000 more were sold at that point, so I'm going to, full disclosure, officially it's 2 million, but I'm certainly guessing a few 100,000 are tossed in there by the end of the actually being brought up to January 1st. So let's say like around 2.3 million. So, not the VR was definitely way off, I'll admit that, and I even mentioned it back then. That was going to be a total shot in the dark. Other than that, I was pretty close with the rest of them. PS4, I knew even back then I was pretty dead set on that. I was like, yeah, it's definitely going to be around like 70 million by the end of the year, and that was certainly the case. PS3, I will mention this right now, we are not going to predict PS3 anymore. It's just so negligible, and I honestly, going into the predictions, you will know why, but we will officially stop that, and moving forward, we will do just PS4, Vita, and PSVR. Alright. My number 2 prediction was PS4 and PS4 Pro price cut down to an official MSRP of $250 or $350, or $250 and $350 respectively. Now the damn thing is, neither of these technically did not happen because the official MSRP of both these systems is still $300 and $400 respectively. Of course, there are still tons of sales. I mean, you'd have to actually go out of your way to buy a PS3 or to buy a PS4 at $300, a PS4 Slim. You'd have to go out of your way to find a PS4 Pro at $400. There's tons of retailer sales. I mean, over in November and December through Black Friday and everything, my God, there were some amazing sales going for both those things. But those are just sales, so I can't really give myself any brownie points there. But PS4 Pro was actually down to $350, and yeah, PS4 Slim was certainly down even lower than $250. My number 3 prediction was PSVR price cut or bundle that includes everything for $400. So back then I predicted that, well, you'd either have an official cut of PlayStation VR down to $350, or you just get an official $400 bundle, but it actually includes the camera. And I was actually 100% correct on this. So going back to the sales thing, around November and December, PlayStation VR had crazy good sales. Again, sales, so those don't really count as a dead-on prediction. I myself have even bought the PlayStation VR Skyrim bundle for a holiday gift for somebody else, and I paid $350 for it. That came with Skyrim VR, 2 Move controllers, and a camera for $350. That was an awesome deal, but it was a deal nonetheless. But actually, the actual dead set correction for this one is that Sony did officially announce the core bundle was going to include the camera, and that was going to be an official MSRP of $400, but it would, from here on out, start including the camera, so that was correct. Number 4, PS1 classics come to PS4 with trophies. Unfortunately, no, I was totally wrong about this, and I really wish I was right, but it's no, not even close. Not much to really add there. Number 5, Sucker Punch announces a new game at E3. It's a new IP open world slated for 2018. So basically, I was like, let's say 66% right on this one, because they did announce their new game. It's Ghost of Tsushima. It is an open world. It is slated for, well, I doubt the game's going to hit 2018, so I would assume 2019, but they didn't even give a release date for that, so that part's not necessarily right. And the other part is that it wasn't announced at E3, it was actually announced at Paris Games Week, which still catches me off guard. I'm surprised that they chose to bring that game at Paris Games Week. I would have even thought, skip Paris Games Week, bring that to PSX. That just seems like a cool, it just seems like a more substantial announcement for PSX and not Paris Games Week. But anyway, number 6, God of War, Detroit Become Human, Days Gone, and Dreams all delayed or slipped to 2018. And I was entirely correct about this one as well. I knew all 4 of those games, as great as they looked, we didn't see enough of either of those games. These games take a long time to make. I mean, yeah, these things were not going to hit 2017 at all. And I'm actually pretty confident that now all 4 of these games will release in 2018. In fact, it would be not only disappointing, but extremely concerning if one of these games didn't hit 2018. If they still take that long to make for a whole another year, I would be a little concerned. Number 7, PSN name changes. This is the second year that I've guessed for PSN name changes. It still has not happened. Sean Layden has finally updated us on this and saying that he actually hopes that by PSX 2018, this will finally be a feature that we will have. So because he has said that, and the fact that I've tried guessing this 2 years now, I will not guess it again. Hopefully we do get it at PSX 2018 or even sooner than that. What's up, guys? So once again, like last year, I literally did the same thing last year, but I skipped over a number, so I actually didn't film number 8. I go right into number 9 after what you're seeing right now, so let me do number 8 real quick. Number 8, absolutely nothing happens for Vita in 2017, which once again I was kind of pretty much right on, because Vita is Vita and nothing's happening for the system, so all of 2017 really nothing of major significance happened. Vita wasn't at any trade shows in great significance. It had small independent games come out like it always does. I mean, it did get the announcement, like Atlas has been supporting it, which has been really great. That was like probably the most notable thing that happened in 2017, were the announcements of like the Persona games and Catherine right near the end there. But I was pretty much right. Nothing happened for Vita. That's number 8. Moving on to number 9. Number 9, remasters and collections for Resistance, Motorstorm, or Infamous on PS4. Nope, I wasn't right about this, and it's another one that I didn't want to be wrong about. I would have loved any of those games to get a remaster or collection on PS4. It's a damn shame that none of these games are being brought back onto PS4. I really want to play them again, and I certainly want to play them again with a little extra pretty PS4 jazzy juice sprinkled on it. You know what I'm saying? Number 10, Knack 2 releases at a budget price, and it still kind of sucks to most people. I would say I'm, for the most part, pretty right about this. Knack 2 did release at a budget price of $39.99, and it actually did review well, I mean, better than the first game, but I feel like a lot of people still just don't really give a shit about Knack. So I'll leave that up to you, but I think for the most part I was pretty good about that. And then I had a bonus prediction last year, which is that Sony does something bad. And I just had some sort of bad vibe. I guess last year I just thought to myself, you know what, something's going to happen in 2017, where Sony Corp just does something really stupid, or they say something really dumb, or just really, all around very bad. And immediately at, recording this now, nothing is really jumping out at me, so I guess I wasn't really right about that. And what I meant by that last year is that it would be certainly something big. So the fact that nothing is jumping out at me now tells me this was wrong. The only thing I can think of is that really bizarre comment Jim Ryan had said about how playing old games just felt dumb and weird because they just didn't look good anymore, which I thought was a pretty polarizing comment, and I thought, well, that's pretty dumb of Sony. But even that's just kind of like whatever. I thought this was going to be a big monumental bad thing that Sony was going to do, which 2017 was a pretty good year for them. I'm sure they're very happy with their performance, so that one wasn't really right as wasn't really right either. Alright, but now it's time to look into the crystal ball, people, and let me tell you what I think is going to go down for PlayStation throughout all of 2018. We'll kick it off with the sales. So I think PS4, you know, I spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I thought, you know what, it's probably going to finally slow down. So I'm thinking like 88 million some odd units, but then I thought, well, the fact that they will have a lot of first-party games releasing in this year might encourage a few more sales. I also feel very strongly that PSVR is still going to do consistently pretty good. A lot of quality software there, and that might drive some more units. So I'm actually going to go with sort of the same idea I had last year, around 20 million for this year. So they will be sitting at around 90 million systems by the end of 2018. For PlayStation Vita, I'm going to say 16.6 million. This is going to be a even bigger drop-off in terms of sales for them. I just think it's finally going to really taper off there. I mean, I honestly, I should even go a little bit lower than 16.6, but I think Japan is still bolstering those numbers just a little bit. So I'm saying 16.6. Now that we have a somewhat reasonable idea of where PlayStation VR is at, I'm going to say 4.8 million units by the end of 2018. This will put it at, this would give it a slightly better year than its first year, which makes sense. I think the coming year should be very good for it because you've actually got a number of quality titles out for it right now. It's, you know, you got more people doing it. Word of mouth is really spreading about PlayStation VR. I think a lot of people are really enjoying it, and it is becoming very affordable now. So I think 4.8 is where I'm going to sit at it there. My number 2 prediction, and it's pretty unfortunate, but PlayStation 3 manufacturing ceases and Vita shipments or manufacturing ceases. So I think this is pretty much it. I mean, this is happening very soon for PlayStation 3. Shipments are stopping in certain territories, but I think 2018 will see complete, total manufacturing being done for the system, and we will have a actual, you know, ceremony for it, you know what I mean, where it's like official, done, no more units are being made. And then for Vita, I'm kind of 50-50 on. I thought, okay, manufacturing is probably going to stop this year, but then I thought I could probably dip into 2019, but I could see it stopping shipments to, like, again, certain territories, much like what PS3 was going throughout 2017. So that's basically where the roadmap I'm setting for it right there. Number 3, Dreams reviews and sells poorly. And now here's another thing. I don't want to be right about this one either. I'm actually one of the few people that always loves games like Dreams. I love artistically approached games. I love games where I can make my own things. I love not character creation, level design, and just overall like user-generated content. I totally love that stuff. And I love Little Big Planet, but Little Big Planet had a forward-thinking purpose and a presentation that was very, I don't know, how do you say it? For lack of a better word, friendly. It was presentable. It was accessible, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Dreams doesn't look at all accessible because it's just so open-ended. It's just so ambiguous. And as much as I think Dreams, as much as I even honestly still think that I will enjoy Dreams, I think it's just not going to be the case for everybody else. I think most people are going to play this game, most reviewers are going to play this game, and it's just not going to be laid out the way that the way that Media Molecule wants it to be laid out. I think it's going to review very poorly, and I think it's going to sell pretty bad as well, which is unfortunate. But that's just how I'm feeling on it. Number 4, PS5 internal rumors begin. Now, what I mean by this is, you know, we often talk a little bit about the future of consoles on this channel. Certainly a long-term aspect of it, whether it's what Microsoft's doing or what Sony will be doing. But a lot of those conversations always stem from analyst predictions. What I'm saying is that, and this is certainly, I think, probably closer to the end of 2018, but we will see some actual concrete rumors from within Sony. You'll have maybe an industry insider, you know, get a hold of, I don't know, not a document certainly, but even the slightest bit of official rumors saying, you know, coming straight from the horse's mouth of like, oh, Sony in talks with certain developers about what the next gen hardware is going to do, or you know, aimed to specs or something along those lines. Even the tiniest bit of information I will take as a correction on this, because I still think it's a little too soon to be talking about PS5, especially considering that I feel the system will probably have a launch of 2020. 2021 at the latest, but I think that's pushing it. But I think we will start to see rumors this year. Did I say number 4 or number 5? Either way, I'm still going in order, thank God. But number 5, Spyro the Dragon Remaster announced during E3 or PSX. Given the fact that the Crash Bandicoot Remaster did so well, I think Activision now realizes that certainly there's going to be some reason to do Spyro, right? Those two IPs always go hand in hand, Crash and Spyro, especially for PlayStation. I think Sony certainly wants to approach Activision if Activision isn't thinking about this already and saying, hey, let's do Spyro now. Do you see how many people enjoyed Crash? Let's get the Spyro thing going. And I think this would be an announcement Sony would love to have at a big trade show like E3 or PSX. And certainly I think it would be in the same capacity of how we saw Crash, which is that Sean Layden would just come up on stage and just be like, oh yeah, and here it is. But they don't show a trailer or anything. They just play some nostalgic music and say, and it's coming soon, which would be like 2019 for the actual release. Number 6, PS1 games come to PS4 with trophies. I'm gonna shoot this one again. I'm now coming up with a rule where it's like I'll only do the same prediction 2 years in a row. I still feel pretty strongly about this. I think this should be a thing that should be happening like soon. It's in PSN surveys where they say, what features do you want? And this is always in there, PS1 games. They do have that pattern where they try to add trophies retroactively to older games, which they've incorporated into their current PS2 classics, the premium PS2 games on the PlayStation Store right now. Why are we not getting the ball rolling on these PS1 games? Let's see them this year. I think now's the time. Number 7, firmware 6.0 adds a slight facelift. Features include gifting games, a store wish list, and video chat, possibly VR video chat. You look at firmware and we look at features that we have now and you think, what can they really add? Now, I think a few things that people have always been asking for, very simple things, mind you. Sometimes I think you don't even really need a firmware for this, but a store wish list, you could even update the server side, I believe, but either way, let's get a store wish list going. Let's get the gifting games button going. People want to give away games because they're really nice, and I would love to do that too. We could do some giveaways like that. Even though you could easily go to Amazon and buy a code and give it to somebody, but having the functionality built into the store I think is also pretty handy. And video chat. As more people are buying PlayStation VR, more people are going to be having PlayStation cameras. So I think why not add this feature? And that's why I also give the VR spin to it. I think that would be an incredibly interesting scenario for Sony to have something like a VR video chat incorporated, where you could actually use PlayStation VR and video chat with somebody, and then boom, it looks like another virtual person is right next to you, but their head tracking and movements are all simulated in that virtual space. I think that'd be cool, although I don't expect that to happen whatsoever. I'm just kind of throwing that in there, but but definitely we need to see some video chat, because why not? And a slight facelift. I wouldn't expect anything substantial to the UI, but certainly I think they'll probably spruce up things or change it up just a little bit. Number 8, another year and nobody cares about PlayStation Now or PlayLink. And I'm including PlayLink in this specifically because PlayLink is that new initiative Sony's doing where it's like social games. So they're games for your PlayStation 4, but they're actually played with smartphones. So multiple people sit in the room and they download an app, the PlayLink app on their smartphone, and they use that to interact with the game. Sony's really pushing this. I don't know why. It's fucking stupid. And sure, these games are fun and they're cool, but they keep pushing it and they keep calling it PlayLink, and they got a section on the store now called PlayLink games. And I just think to myself, this is just one of those really dumb initiatives that 2-3 years from now, they're just going to stop using the imagery. They're going to stop using the name PlayLink. They're just, it's like, I don't know why companies bother doing stuff like this sometimes. And same with PlayStation Now. It's hard to grade this, but I just think by the end of 2018, it's just going to be like, more, Sony still won't talk about subscriber numbers. PlayStation Now videos still get disliked on YouTube just because it's PlayStation Now and people don't want to stream their games. I just think these services are just becoming a little bit redundant, even though I also vouch for PS Now quite often in terms of Sony's long-term goal and actually how the service does work quite well if you use it, but people just don't want it right now. And then we go on to number 9. Number 9, PSVR support stays strong with consistent games. And I know these last few predictions seem a little conservative, but I don't want to predict anything if I know it's not going to be true. What I mean by this one is Sony being pretty aggressive with VR, which is great. I love the fact that every trade show they have a whole roster of new virtual reality games to announce. You don't want to have a $400 peripheral, which it's not even a peripheral, it's a full-on platform, and not have support for it. I'm telling you, dude, if you have not put this fucking thing on your head yet, do it. VR works. It's really enticing. It's really immersive. It's really compelling. It's really fun. My God, just the other day I was playing Super Hot VR. Jesus Christ, that's another great VR game where I loved it right away. It was amazing. You can't get an experience like that any other way. VR works, and I'm so happy that Sony is working as hard as they are to get more developers to work on it and make it easy to use and easy to develop on. And they are just being very consistent with it. They are not going to leave this thing in the dust, and I think 2018 is going to be no different. For my final prediction, God of War and Detroit Become Human exceed expectations and both up for multiple awards. I really struggled with the number 10 prediction, but the one thing I kept coming back to was like, we've heard that God of War is going to be a 25 to 35 hour game, which is very long for God of War. The game, of course, looks way more cinematic than it does before, way more like a grounded level of storytelling going on with Kratos and his son. I think that game, and I have full confidence in Sony Santa Monica. I just have very good vibes about that game. I think it's going to do very well. And even you guys know I also constantly beat the drum for Detroit Become Human. I can't see this game coming out and not doing fucking amazing. It looks great. It's telling, stories that are provocative. It's telling, it's just doing the same thing that Quantic Dream has been doing, but I just think they're doing a lot more substantial things with Detroit. The story of Detroit just seems so, God, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so much more, I don't know, like meaningful, I guess. I mean, the story of AI being sentient and then issues like that whole scene with the child and the child abuse and the animations are just top notch. I think it's going to be a game that you can get way more invested in, more so than Heavy Rain, because when you do play Heavy Rain today, its age shows, and I think Detroit is a game that takes it up to such a different notch, such a different level from Heavy Rain, and makes it a little more timeless, where I don't think Detroit will be able to age as easily as Heavy Rain did. Of course, it remains to be seen because we haven't played either of these games, but that's the whole point of the prediction. I think both these games are going to come out. I think they're going to do awesome, and I think they're easily going to be contenders for Game of the Year by the end of 2018. And so ends another predictions video. So bookmark it, keep this one in check, everybody, because I will see you for the first Friday of 2019, where we will go over this entire video, and we'll see how well I did. And I would be very intrigued to know what you guys think Sony's going to do, because honestly, I thought to myself for a long time about the 2018 predictions, and I thought, I rattled off my first 5 like really quickly. I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And the last 5 it took forever to think about, because I don't want to just think of something that's stupid and totally not going to happen. I want to at least try to be accurate, so I really wasn't sure. That's why some of the ones I did are conservative, nobody cares about PlayLink. Of course nobody cares about PlayLink. Or Sony's going to do more VR. Of course they're going to do more VR, but that's what I want them to do anyway. And quite frankly, they probably are going to do that. But yeah, let me know what you also think that Sony's going to be doing as well. I'd be intrigued to hear. Anyway, that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Jarryd Howard. Thank you all so much for talking with me, and I will see you guys next Friday.